Jesus and his disciples on the way to Jerusalem. They are walking together. Jesus and his disciples walking together. But their minds are in two different worlds. Walking together, but their minds are in two entirely different worlds. The Lord is looking at the cross ahead of him, on his suffering and death ahead of him, while his disciples are dreaming of power and glory. Two entirely different worlds. One of suffering and death, the other of power and glory. Two diametrically opposite worlds. Here is a second prediction of Jesus about his death. Last Sunday we heard the first one, and there Peter got it wrong. Today all the disciples, they all failed to understand what he said about his suffering and death. And they were afraid to ask him why. It's like being with the doctor and you are given the bad news. And you don't want the doctor to explain in detail what the bad news is. So when the Lord started talking about suffering and death, they said, no, enough. We don't want to hear anymore. Peter and his friends were all being realistic. They were realistic about what they said or what they thought, because the cultural, political expectations were all about a political warrior, second David Messiah. They couldn't think otherwise. That was the need of the time. Here is Jesus who can do miracles. Extraordinary, prophet or powerful, somebody meant or sent for a mission, so he must be the one, and we are waiting for the days of glory and power. The Romans will be overthrown. We'll have the country back. We'll have the freedom again. We're looking forward to the days of glory and power. And then this disturbing conversation, he's speaking about death. No. Death, suffering, no. A glorious Messiah. We don't want to hear about suffering, and tell us something about those days of glory when you will overthrow the Romans. Tell us something about that. The suffering and death, we could understand that. Dear friends, we can understand the mind of this disciple because we are all in the same boat, aren't we? Preoccupation with the power, honor, glory, position, titles. Where do I stand on the ladder? Who is on the top? Who is at the bottom? Who is going up and who is going down? That's what we are looking for in the newspaper or the TV. Who is going up and who is going down? And where are you on the ladder? Oh, at the back of the mind, we all have that thought. Where do I stand? What do they think about me? We all love a position, honor, titles, to be held in honor, to be admired, to be looked at. You keep on updating your photos on Instagram and WhatsApp or your profile, yes. You want to give a good impression. Look at me. If not good enough, you have got the technology to morph and make it all the more beautiful and graceful. Look at me. What do you think about me? Am I not brilliant, smart, intelligent, beautiful, handsome? Tell me. We all have this kind of preoccupation at the back of the mind, whether we admit it or not. It's always there. The desire for power. Something, if I got a good bank balance, I can do anything I want, go anywhere I want. So power, I'll have some control. When I have money, I got some power and control. I can do what I want. I can get you whatever I want. Power. Something if I got a good position and a good career, everything is secure. You and me, we live in this kind of thoughts and emotions and complexes. This is the world we live in. And then the Lord is talking about another world. Another world. These disciples arguing who is the first among us. The reason is very interesting because the other day in the gospel, 3 of them were taken up the mountain. 3 of them, not everyone. And they came down with a story perhaps. We had a vision of heaven. Oh, only 3 of you went up. And then there is something disastrous happened at the foot of the mountain. There was a boy with epilepsy and they could not heal this boy. A disaster, failure. With all this is happening, 3 went up the mountain, only 3 were chosen. So are they going to be in positions of power? When he is the Messiah, he is the second David in Jerusalem. So these 3, are they? What about me? What about me? So they had this conversation. In his kingdom, who will be the prime minister or they are thinking, who will have the first place? Who will be in that office? All this kind of worldly calculations and discussions going on. And the Lord tells them, if you are a child, you are great. Become like a child. Then you are wonderful. If you want to be great, go to the floor. Go to the floor. Be on the floor, on your knees, at somebody's feet. Wash their feet. Then you are wonderful. If you want to be great, there's a better place. Go up on the cross. If you really want to be great, have great power, go upon the cross, then you will really will have great power. Oh, difficult to understand. When you sacrifice yourself for the other, you're amazingly wonderful. When you forget yourself for the other, oh, you are really great. If you are fighting for the chair and honor, you are being very silly and stupid. On the other hand, have this ambition to serve others, to live for others, sacrifice yourself for, then you are really a great person. This is the teaching of the Lord. Once we understand this lesson, we will be wise people. Now, to go into the very depth of these lessons of the Lord, I'm going to look at the gospel we had on Friday. If you follow the gospels of each day, this Friday, a day before yesterday, there was a very small passage from Luke. A little passage about the women disciples of Jesus. The 12 are mentioned. Then Luke says, some women followed Jesus all the way. And Luke mentioned 3 of them, only 3. But those 3 can teach us everything about real discipleship. Who are those 3? Mary Magdalene, Joanna, and Susanna. These 3 walking with Jesus. These 12 men and these 3 women and some more women. What is the difference? These 12 are called his special apostles, disciples. But these disciples will not stay with the Lord when the Lord is arrested or when the Lord is in agony on the cross. These men will not be there. These are men of reason and calculation. They could see he has been arrested, taken away, and there he is like a criminal on the cross. What are we going to get? Everything disaster. But these three women, they are at the foot of the cross. These three women are at the foot of the cross. Why didn't they think like those men? Why didn't they think like those intelligent, smart men, those 12 men? These three women walked with the Lord in his life and stayed with him in his death. Real discipleship. They had no expectations. They had no calculations. Luke says they walked with the Lord, and from their own pockets they supported the Lord and his disciples. Very generous, no expectations. In life and death, they stayed with the Lord. And those three women, look at them again. The first one mentioned is Mary Magdalene. Who was she? A woman with a past. A woman with a past. Not a good story about her. Possessed by demons, maybe a prostitute. She had no good history. She had a bad story about her life. She had a past. A good woman. But there she is at the foot of the cross, a faithful disciple. The past doesn't count. Your past doesn't count. However glorious, saintly you have been in the past, what counts is where you are today, this morning, this moment. Where are you today? That's all it matters. And this Mary Magdalene is the first evangelist. Think about that again. Mary Magdalene, one of the sinners, the one with the past, he is the first evangelist, the one who proclaims the resurrection of Jesus. Not any of the disciples. Only Mary Magdalene says, the Lord is risen indeed. A sinner becomes the first apostle and evangelist. There is a lesson for you and me. These three women followed the Lord with unconditional love and faithfulness. Unconditional love and faithfulness. Practical application now. We follow the Lord with unconditional love and faithfulness? Do we have any expectations from the Lord? Like a business, I do this, I go to Mass, I am a good Catholic, so because I'm a good Catholic, so Lord, give me something. I am praying to you, give me something. So answer because I am being a good person, so you are supposed to bless me, aren't you? Some business, understand, don't we have some business? I do this for you, and you do this for me. That is the men disciples. These women, no expectations. In life, in death, we will follow you. Being a disciple is, my dear friends, choosing to walk with the Lord in all circumstances of life. In sickness, in death, upon the mountain, down in the valley, in all situations, you will walk with Him no matter what happens. That kind of deep, unconditional love and faithfulness. To close, define disciples this way: following Jesus with unconditional, self-giving love and faithfulness. When you have that, you are really a disciple.